What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Ghetto Robin Hood Tries to Steal Meat, Arrested for a Whole Lot More. This is my first post, so please excuse any mistakes on spelling and grammar. I've been following this sub for a while, and after listening to r/darkfluff, this is a long one, so I apologize in advance. This happened in 2009 after I had been discharged from the Marines and was looking for work back home. I landed a job working contract plainclothed loss prevention in Washington State at various grocery stores. The one I was looking at on this particular day has the initials from Queen's furry coat. It should be pretty obvious. As plainclothed loss prevention, we always work in pairs because some of these instances can get violent. Anyway, here it goes. There's me, 6 feet, 240 pounds, heavily tattooed Pacific Islander, former Marine infantry with a short temper for bullcrap and stupidity. Partner, meth head thief. And then Leo's 1 and 2, which are law enforcement officers 1 and 2, and then EMT. I'll do the voices later. Well, we got called to work the 0600 to 1600 shift at this particular grocery store because this is the time of the week a lot of deliveries are made, so management is busy processing the incoming shipments, and also the local college down the road is about to start their 0700 classes. A lot of college kids and business people are coming in and out of the store, getting their S-Bucks and breakfast for the morning Starbucks. My partner posts up by the entrance wearing a backpack to look like a college kid and a hoodie in order to hide his badge and handcuffs. I take a post inside the dairy cooler. Yes, we hide in there because it gives us a commanding view of all the high theft aisles without being seen. This day, I am on the phone with my partner who's notifying me of anyone that looks suspicious when a vendor walks in with 2 carts from the store. He asks me, "Hey, OP, doesn't the vendor in the khaki pants and the maroon polo look familiar?" I respond that yes, he does, and to give me a second while I look through our little flipbook of ORC, or Organized Retail Crime Suspects. I look at him and the pic and see the same tattoo on his neck as in the picture. I inform my partner of this and tell him we'll keep an eye on him and stop him as soon as he clears the entrance with the merchandise. State law states an item isn't considered stolen until they bypass all points of sale and break the plane of entrance, making no attempt to purchase said item. Now, this guy isn't big, nor is he small, so the pants that he was wearing seemed way too big for him, and he was also walking with an exaggerated limp. This is important. Well, he pulls out a folder and heads immediately for the deli department where they just received a shipment of meat. Steaks, prime ribs, pork chops, chicken, lamb, etc. He hands the deli counter attendant, who just got there and was just another part-time college kid paying for his way through school, a letter, which we found out later was a fake notice with the vendor's name on the letterhead that this shipment of meat was tainted, and he was there to take possession and return it to them, and that a refunded bill of sale would be provided once he has it loaded up. The kid wasn't too sure about this, so he went to go find the manager. That's when things went south quick, fast, and in a hurry. As soon as the kid was gone, this guy pulls out a pair of bolt cutters from his pants and cuts the lock on the meat cooler and begins to load up the carts with as much meat as he can. These baskets were overflowing. When he heads back towards the entrance, he sees my partner looking at him. This is exactly what they say to each other. "Are you store security?" "No." "If you are, you have to tell me." Why do they always assume that we have to tell them? "No, man, I'm just waiting on my buddy to get here so we can go to class." Skeptical, but finally accepting the response. "Okay, well, do you want to make $100 helping me load this into my car?" "For real? Sure, why not?" Keep in mind that my partner has been on the phone with me this whole time, so I heard the whole exchange. I make my way out of the dairy cooler and run outside to back up my partner when we confront this guy. Meth Head has the back of his station wagon open, about to load everything in, when I come around and put my badge in his face. "Store security, you'll have have to come with us. Freaking lying buttholes! I'll freaking kill you! Reaches in and grabs a long screwdriver. He swings a haymaker with the screwdriver, trying to stab my partner in the head. Fortunately, my partner sees it coming and tucks and rolls out of the way. He swings, backhanded this time, towards my chest, where I promptly put those hand-to-hand combat skills to use. I grabbed his forearm with one hand, triceps with the other, and brought his elbow down as I brought my right knee up and broke his arm, at which point he dropped the screwdriver and began to scream in pain while grasping his arm and rolling on the ground. Damn. Cops were called by management, and when they got there, asked what was going on while guns were drawn because all they saw was two guys standing over someone in a lot of pain on the ground. What the hell happened here? That butthole tried to stab me in the head with the screwdriver. Recognizing Meth Head, Leo too says, I've arrested you before. Looks like you're not getting out this time, Meth Head. This might be grand larceny, and at the very least, attempted murder. Turns out he had a warrant out for his arrest for cooking and selling meth as well. We'll get paramedics out here to stabilize Meth Head before we process him. 10 minutes later, Meth Head has passed out from the pain. Who did this? I did, sir. Well, you definitely knew right where to do it. I doubt if this guy will ever gain full functionality of this arm again. After going to court several times, found out he's spending 25 to life in prison because apparently some people had succumbed to meth overdose because of what this guy cooked. Oh my god. And that the attempted murder charge was just icing on the cake. And before anyone asks, the reason why the meat theft could be grand larceny is because the meat hadn't been cut up for sale yet and was in full slabs, making it more expensive by the pound, which is how the store priced items for the prosecution. The total came out to just north of $7,000. Apparently, he was gonna sell some of it along with his meth. That's a seasoning I would want to try. For those that read it, thanks for reading through. Now, I'm not the one to advocate for physical force on like a non-violent crime, but this guy, oh man, he deserved it, especially with it was a violent crime once he started swinging the goddamn screwdriver around. Those things are lethal, man. I've seen plenty of zombie media, okay, where screwdrivers are a very viable weapon, all right? And I've used a screwdriver on myself by accident while trying to, I think I've told this story before, but it was a dog food thing. I'm not gonna tell you the whole, it's simple. So, old maintenance guy, he was telling me how to open a can of dog food very easily. So you open it, and then, you know, when you shake it out, it doesn't come out very easily or clean at all. So he tells me, just stab the bottom of the can with a screwdriver, and that allows, you know, the suction to like release or whatever, and then the stuff falls out. And so I'm like, okay, and I'm 8 years old, and I was alone one day. I had the can of dog food. I was trying to feed my dogs, Tank and Tummy, and I brought the screwdriver high up, and bam, right in the space between my thumb and my index finger on my left hand. It was bad. Like, it got in there deep. I didn't bleed though, somehow, but I definitely stabbed myself. Like, I could see flesh. It was weird. All right, this story's called I Don't Think We've Met. I'm a medical laboratory scientist. I work in the lab at a 300-bed hospital. Recently, I spent a day cross-training in our hospital's blood bank, shadowing one of the techs as they issued blood products to various hospital staff. The manager of the blood bank came to introduce herself, and while we were chatting, a middle-aged man came and began talking quietly to the manager. I'm new to the hospital and have yet to meet most of the personnel, so I didn't recognize him. Our badges display only our first names in large letters, with our job title in much smaller letters beneath, which is hard to make out from more than a foot or two away. But this man was wearing business casual instead of scrubs, which at our hospital usually means an MD or an administrator of some kind. A registered nurse came to pick up some blood, and she was wearing her mask incorrectly, with it down under her nose. Everyone was giving her the side eye, but she was coolly ignoring the looks. Finally, the man in the button-down shirt and slacks said, "Hey, Jackie!" And I assumed at first that he knew her, but she was startled. So I realized that he had read her badge. Once he had her attention, he motioned with his hand for her to cover up her nose with her mask. She sighed and rolled her eyes and pulled her mask up over her nose, and then immediately pulled the bottom of her mask away from her chin and held it that way with one hand as she made a point of breathing heavily through her mouth. Everyone just stared at her for a beat, and then the man calmly spoke again.
Jackie, I don't think we've met. I'm Dr. Jones, the chief medical officer here at St. Mary's. Let's go have a chat with your supervisor.
Yikes. Okay, I can understand the whole not wanting to wear a mask all day, every day thing. Like, I don't go out super often, but when I do, it is a bit of a nuisance to wear a mask. Maybe you get used to it, I don't know. But especially if you're a freaking, if you're medical personnel, you gotta take that crap seriously, man. If you're not going to, how do you expect anyone else to? Especially in a freaking hospital, okay? Everyone there is putting themselves at risk, okay? That is without a doubt the truth, all right? These medical personnel are our first line of defense other than our own immune systems when it comes to fighting off the virus, both at a large scale and, individual cases. Like that whole thing with Tom Cruise blowing up on a couple of workers on the set of the new Mission Impossible movie, and he was going off on them. But a lot of what he says comes from, he's right, more or less. Obviously, no one in power should be yelling at anyone below them like that at all, because that was just, that's mean. It's terrifying. It just makes you uncomfortable, especially Tom Cruise, even though he is short. But in his case, the stakes are so high. Like, so many people were using that freaking movie as an example of how to do things and how to safely make these movies so that people at home can watch and maybe distract themselves from the miserable existence that they're currently living. And so many workers there, employees, are depending on these jobs to provide for them. So yes, it might not seem like a big deal, but the stakes are incredibly high. So Nurse Jackie shouldn't necessarily lose her job, but definitely should be reprimanded or at least talked to and explained how dumb she is for being dumb. Alright, this story's called Women Aren't in the Military. When I was in the Navy, just got out a few days ago, and dating someone who was also in, he would often get into conversations with random people and they would like to talk to him about it, but he would never mention that I was also in. So the people just assumed I was a dependent. It wouldn't be until I mentioned I was in too that people would have any interest in talking to me or hearing what I had to say. I'll never understand why he would never mention my service too, especially since I had been in longer and made more than him. But I guess in hindsight, he just liked the attention for himself. Edit. We're not together anymore. This was a past relationship. I can see that just being slightly irritating over time, or maybe incredibly over time. But it must have been satisfying when they actually did realize that you too were in the Navy. Alright, this story's called Security at the store I worked at didn't realize I worked there. So years back, I was working at a liquor store. A friend of mine came in, so I stood by the half bottles talking to him. The store's rent-a-cop security guard comes over and asks for ID. My friend goes to pull out his wallet. Security guard goes,
"No, not you. Her."
So I look around and realize he's talking to me. Dude, I work here. See the name tag? He just sheepishly walked away, and my friend and I were dumbfounded and laughed it off. Keep in mind, I had been working for 4 hours that day in a small store with that security guard there the whole time. I bet you he was embarrassed. What a dummy head. Alright, this story's called You're Not in Elementary School? When I was 20, I got a job working in the cafeteria of a school that has grades pre-K through 5. I'm short, but I'm still taller than any 5th grader I've yet to meet. One day, the dairy vendor rep, he was maybe 30, 35 years old, comes in to get our weekly order. I worked there maybe a year at that point, and he was the rep for us the whole time. That day, the cafeteria manager was out sick, so I had the order for him. Oh, hey, let me get the list.
Can I speak to a teacher or something?
About what? Do you want to enroll your kids?
No, I mean an adult. Who's in charge while she's gone?
That's when I realize he thinks I'm a student. He thought I was volunteering in the cafeteria the whole time to get extra credit. Edit! I told him I was in charge for the day, was graduating college the next year, and never attended that elementary school. He avoided me after that day. What? That is... Why do people get so awkward about things? It's just like, it's a funny situation. Like, I thought you were a 5th grader the whole year I've been here. Like, would that not be hilarious if the person doesn't get offended? But I'm assuming OP didn't get offended. It's just ridiculous. Like, the smallest thing can make someone, like, not see you for the rest of your/their lives. Like, it's crazy. All right, this story's called Lady, I'm the Teacher. Please stop yelling at my student. While I was 21 and studying for my languages and teaching degree, one of my teachers had a languages school and offered me a job to teach English and French since I'm fluent in both. Hey, well, that's badass. I would teach 4 times a week and worked with the 4 group ages: children, teens, young adults, and adults. On Wednesdays, I started my afternoon with children and ended it with adults. Most adults were plus 40 professionals who went to class after work, and some of them wore very formal clothes because of that. One of the kids from the children's intermediate class loved learning English and was a fast learner, so we recommended her to attend an extra children's conversational club class on Monday, higher level, while still attending her normal lessons on Wednesdays. She was very excited about it, and her dad, divorced parents, was fine with it. I don't know what the kid's mom understood, but she thought we were somehow setting her back, and the woman decided she couldn't wait and needed to argue with us that same day. Adult lessons started at 7 p.m. and it was around 6:55, so some of the adults were chilling and talking about their week before class when the lady arrived. She looked around the classroom and directly went to Paul, a very shy, suit-wearing bank manager.
How dare you pull my kid out of her class and put her in a level for beginners?
Miss, please.
Be quiet, I'm talking with the teacher!
Some of the other students were laughing.
Stop laughing, you losers! My kid is 9 and knows more English than all of you!
That is enough. Please get out of the classroom.
Don't tell me what to do!
I'm not telling you this again. Please leave the classroom and stop yelling at my students. Crazy mom is pointing at Paul crazily. Look, miss, we can talk in my office, but you need to leave this room now. One of the students who owned a restaurant made a joke about dealing with annoying people like her on the daily, and the crazy mom got even angrier, but I managed to get her out of the room. I explained again that I was the teacher, but she refused to talk to me because
you are so young!
And yelled a popular yet ridiculous saying about young people. That really pissed me off, and I wasn't very kind when I told her, look, miss, I'm their teacher, and I'm your kid's teacher. So if you please stop acting like a child and tell me what your problem is, I might help you. Somehow that snapped her out of her tantrum, and she left slowly and loudly stomping downstairs. It literally took her like 5 minutes to get down 16 steps. I went back to the classroom and apologized to the students, and we had a pretty nice conversation about how culturally here is quite common for middle-aged or old people to look down on younger professionals. Some of them even accepted that in the past they acted like the lady in a situation but would never do it again, and others say they would give extra support to their younger colleagues. And that's the kind of spirit we need everywhere. Young people getting supported by old people being thrown away. I'm kidding. Anyway, OP, freaking look at you, man. Stop having your own class and all that jazz. Teaching foreign languages. That's hot. Alright, this story's called You Can't Be Behind the Bar. Context: I'm the night cook at a local bar and grill 5 to 6 nights a week. If servers are busy, we'll take orders to the bar, and I get pop from the drink station in there because we only have Coke in the bar. Last night was busy due to darts, and I hate to bother the bartender if they're busy, so I'll just help myself. Yes, they're all fine with this. After shutting down the kitchen and taking out my garbage, I was thirsty, so I walked behind the bar. The bartender is busy mixing drinks, so I said I was gonna grab a glass and get some pop. She had no problem with this. However, this drunk guy sitting at the bar decided that it was his job to tell me what to do. He says, "Excuse me, ma'am, you can't be back there." At the same time, the bartender and I both say that I work there. 2 more times he repeats himself. "You need to leave. You can't be back there." I kept telling him that I work there. I'm the cook. He finally gave up when, I think it was his girlfriend, smacked him in the arm and told him to leave me alone. Some people just can't mind their own business. Drunk people are so funny when they're not violent.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.